Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com. Let's start off with a quick little story out of Lancashire. A fight in aid of prostate cancer, quite frankly. I assume prostate cancer research and or treatment. We have on Friday, April the 8th, which would be tomorrow, Rhys Mold versus Patrick of Klein, taking place at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, England. It's near Preston on the coast in Lancashire. Rhys Mold has been inspired by old rival Leigh Wood's world title heroics. Mold, who's 14-1 with 6 knockouts, is looking to illuminate Blackpool, which is a play on the Blackpool Illuminations, when he boxes in the seaside town on Friday, April 8th, over 8 rounds. His headline fight is part of an evening with Ricky Hatton in aid of prostate cancer that VIP Boxing are staging at the world-famous Winter Gardens. Rhys was pushing Wood hard in a close British featherweight title fight last February before losing in the 9th round. 5 months later, Wood ripped the WBA championship from Kanju. Last month, knocked out Michael Conlan, and now one of the greatest fights ever seen in the British ring. Mold said, "I challenged Leigh in my 14th professional fight, and I've not lost anything from that. I know that it was a blemish on my record, but it just shows what I did in the fight because he is now a world champion and a good one. Going into that 9th round, I was 2 rounds up, even with being knocked down in the 4th round. What Leigh has gone on and achieved has helped me a lot, and I know how well I did that night. I did a lot better than most thought I would do. If I win the Commonwealth title, people will wonder if I'm going to get a rematch, but he has moved on to bigger and better things. He is looking at big money fights like Josh Warrington in unification or a Conlan rematch. He will be done by the time I get up there." Mold had hoped for a Commonwealth super featherweight title eliminator in Blackpool. He had been matched against Ghana's Patrick O'Kine, but the British Boxing Board of Control have currently suspended boxers from the African nation. The Commonwealth Championship is currently held by Mold's VIP stablemate, Zelfa Barrett, but he recently won a world title eliminator and has a European Championship fight lined up. Rhys, who expects the Manchester man to relinquish his Commonwealth title, has been sparring with Warrington and Maxie Hughes. Mold added, "It's disappointing, but I think Steve Wood will make sure I'm in place to fight for the Commonwealth title in the near future. He has promised me a big fight very soon. Seeing Josh and Maxie do so well helps me. And when you see the size of the purse bid for Leigh's against Conlan, it drives me on even more." I'll bet it does. VIP Boxing head Steve Wood added, "Leigh Wood's performances in his subsequent fights show just how well Rhys did with so few fights. With more experience, who knows what might have happened. We're all gutted that the Commonwealth Eliminator fell apart, but once Rhys gets Friday's fight out of the way, we'll just push him towards a bigger fight." So also on the bill, super lightweights Jacob Roll is going up, Tyrone Bound Price and super welterweight Owen Kirk are on 4-round action. A late addition is exciting Liverpool talent Brandon Daoud, who's been on Talk and Fight and interviewed by Mike Orr at 4. Right on we move to the USA, over to the theater at Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas. Undefeated Swedish middleweight prospect Shady Gamhore, who's 12-0 with 9 knockouts, returns to Las Vegas to fight there for the first time since 2018 on April 29th, an event called the Sons of Legends card, presented by Roy Jones Jr., RJJ Boxing, in association with Aries Entertainment, to be held at the theater at Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas. The main event is a 10-round match for the vacant WBC, the US NBC heavyweight title between Kenzie TCB Morrison, 19-2, with 19022. I'm going to guess 19 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 17 knockouts. Going toe-to-toe against Hassim Cold-Blooded Rahim. Nope, Rahman. He's undefeated, 12 wins, 6 knockouts, respectively. The sons of past world heavyweight champions Tommy the Duke Morrison and Hassim Rahman. The action will be called at ringside by Hall of Famer Roy Jones Jr., James Smitty Smith, Calvin Hot Sauce Henderson, and be shown on Fight TV and in-demand pay-per-view. Swedish native, by the way, Gamhore, who lives and trains with Roy Jones in Pensacola, Florida, is matched against Steven Pichardo, who's 8-1-1 with 2 knockouts in a 6-round bout, by the way. It feels awesome to fight again in Las Vegas, Gamhore said. It's a dream come true. It has been a blessing to have been able to be trained by the great Roy Jones Jr. for the past 5 years. My training camp has been great, and we now have the most important weeks of training leading up to the fight in Las Vegas. Pichardo, by the way, has won 7 of his last 8 fights with 1 draw, so that will be a good card indeed. Elsewhere, let's move on to Montreal, where Groupe Yvon Michel held a virtual press conference the other day to announce the next installment of its popular boxing series, co-promoted by GYM and Pro Bellum, presented by Misoju, on Thursday evening, May 5th, to be held at the Cabaret at the Montreal Casino. Former world light heavyweight champion Eleider Storm Alvarez, who's 25-2 with 13 knockouts, will return to the ring for the first time in nearly 2 years, but this time as a cruiserweight. He will fight in an 8-round bout against an opponent to be announced this week. Top Canadian super lightweight prospects, undefeated Muslim Akdinas, who's 16-0 with 8 knockouts, and Mathieu Germaine, who's 20-2 with 1 draw and 9 knockouts, will also showcase their considerable talents in 10-round matches. The 3 boxers, although at different levels in their careers, all have the ambition to join the top 10 contenders in their division before the end of 2022. Alvarez hasn't fought in nearly 2 years since he lost to current WBO World Light Heavyweight champ Joe Smith Jr., and the Colombia native is taking his explosiveness and power up to the cruiserweight division for the first time. I'm coming back to boxing to prove to myself that I still have great years to come and titles to conquer at cruiserweight, Alvarez declared. A 28 Olympian, that's 2008 Olympian, Alvarez will be fighting in his adopted home of Montreal for the first time in nearly 5 years. The highlight of his professional career to date was a stunning 7-round stoppage of Sergey Kovalov, who was dropped 3 times by Alvarez to capture the WBO World Light Heavyweight title nearly 4 years ago. Promoter Yvon Michel is very proud of his progress. He said, Eleider has only 2 career losses against ex-champion Sergey Kovalov, who he knocked out beforehand, and against the current WBO light heavyweight champ Joe Smith Jr. His talent is undeniable, and with his new team, he's even more motivated than ever to get back up to the top. The young veteran, Mathieu Germaine, showed a lot of resources and determination overcoming the consequences of COVID and a cut in the right eye to knock out his opponent, Eric Angula, on March 11th in the 8th and last round. He said, I've never suffered cuts in my career, but it really didn't bother me. The important thing is I had many supporters. I had quite a show that evening. I intend to impress them again on May 5th. The popular Muslim Akdinas will fight his 3rd fight since last December, and he asks for more. He said, I am ready to fight every month if I'm given the chance. May 5th will be Cinco de Mayo, the Mexican holiday, and I intend to fight like a Mexican and raise my supporters, who will be numerous at the casino. Quite a charismatic character he is. All right, tickets are on sale, and that should be a good fight over in Montreal for sure. Soon to be really picking up steam. That's about a 6-hour drive from where I presently live, and maybe I'll get up to that show. Alrighty, onwards we go to Rome, Italy, where local hero Mirko Geografo, who's 17-1, and Azania Byfield, 15-4-1 from the United Kingdom, will square off for the vacant UBO World Welterweight title on May 7th at the Palaboxe Aurelio Santoro in Rome, Italy. A pro since 2015, 30-year-old Geografo won the Italian middleweight title in 2018, stopping Domenico Spada, who's 43-6, and added the WBA international title the following year with a decision over Mexican Abraham Ramirez, who's 14-2. In his most recent outing last June, he beat Brazilian Paulo Galdino 10-3 to capture the IBF Latino title at welterweight. And now he is ready to take the next step and go for the world honors in this division. Nicknamed Ghost, hope I pronounced that right. Azania Byfield, 32, entered the paid code a few weeks before Geographo and has only lost to strong opposition in Arthur Herman, 16-2, Ted Cheeseman, 14-0, Ismail Iliev, 12-1, and Dmitro Mitrofanov, 9-0-1, and every time over the full distance. Byfield to gate crash the world scene and to make a name for himself, and with plenty of time to prepare for the fight, is expected to come in optimal shape. Preceded by a well-matched undercard featuring local talents, Geographo versus Byfield for the UBO World Welterweight title will headline a show promoted by MG Boxing. And I'm sure that's not Morris Garage either. Alrighty, over we go to Philadelphia for an event taking place at the Parx Casino on May 13th. Carl Wily, a lightweight fighter out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania, has an interesting story. He's a former Golden Gloves winner, and he'll be making his professional boxing debut, as I said, at the Parx Casino, that's in Philadelphia, on Friday, May 13th. Hopefully that will be a lucky day for him. He said, boxing is the only thing I could get up and do every day and not complain about, and it's terrible because of what you put your body through, said Wily. I could do this and not complain about it. With a passion for boxing and the competitiveness that comes with it, the road to get in the ring was not easy for Wily. There are no gyms where he comes from in Coatesville, and he had to travel over 45 minutes to an hour to Reading, Lancaster, or Phoenixville just to train. He had success at the 2014 Golden Gloves, making it to the national tournament. When he wanted to go pro, yet problems kept adding up for him. He had terrible luck with his car breaking down, and that really hindered him getting to the gym every day, obviously, unless he was walking or running. He knows how important consistency is because without it, he would just be an average fighter. He never let himself get out of shape as he would always be hitting the pavement running. Oh, wow, there's irony. He never let himself get out of shape as he would always be hitting the pavement running and getting in those miles. During those runs, he felt the support from his friends and family. When running, he was sure to get 5 to 10 people giving him supportive beeps on the horn. Boxing is a lonely sport, but the support from his family and friends is what kept him going and keeps him still working to make his professional debut, even after a 5-year gap between fights. Quick little quote from Wily here about how does he feel about making his debut so close to home. It's exciting and bittersweet because my first amateur fight was actually in my city of Coatesville. The energy and the atmosphere was ridiculous. I burnt out like halfway through the fight because I was fighting so much off energy and adrenaline. I wasn't breathing, and when I finally stopped to take a deep breath, I didn't think I was going to make it. But that was a long time ago, and I'm anxious, and everybody's really excited, and it's going to be amazing. What a fantastic story. Good stuff, again, out of Philadelphia, another city with a great history of boxing, and where our own Tim Witherspoon hails from, who's with us on the Friday night panel, as you all know. Well, thank you very much for joining me again on Talk and Fight. Remember to like, share, subscribe our channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you again at 4 p.m. with Mike Orr at 4, and Cedric Ben will be in the den with us for another show of Knuckle Up. Thanks.